Gee, your hair smells terrific.
Today, we're looking back at 10 everyday 1970s products that sparked real tension at home. The kind of tension that could turn a quiet evening into raised voices, slammed doors, and long silences. And if you lived through even one of these, chances are you already know exactly how this goes. Number 1. The TV dial and rabbit ears. You moved it, don't touch it, now it's worse. The TV wasn't just entertainment, it was the center of the living room, and adjusting it was serious business. One person was always in charge of the dial and the rabbit ears, and everyone else was warned not to touch anything. But inevitably, someone did. Maybe they were trying to help. Maybe they just brushed past it. The picture fuzzed, the sound wobbled, and suddenly the room filled with accusations. Why did you move it? I didn't move it. Well, it was fine before. The argument wasn't really about the TV, it was about control, and the knowledge that once the picture went bad, it might not come back for the rest of the night. Number 2. The phone with the long cord. Someone always stayed on too long. The long cord phone was supposed to be a convenience. In reality, it was a source of constant conflict. The cord stretched through doorways, around chair legs, and sometimes halfway down the hallway, a visible reminder that someone had been on the phone for too long. If you were the one waiting, you hovered, arms crossed, sighing loudly, pretending to look for something nearby while clearly listening. Every laugh from the person on the phone felt personal. Who are you talking to? How long have you been on? I need to use the phone. The person holding the receiver insisted it was important. The person waiting insisted it wasn't. Privacy didn't really exist. Conversations were overheard, judged, and later discussed at dinner. Eventually, someone slammed the receiver down harder than necessary. The cord snapped back into place, and the next argument began over who had tied it into knots in the first place. The phone didn't just connect people, it divided rooms. Number 3. Shampoo wars.
What would you name a shampoo and a conditioner that not only get a girl's hair clean and shiny? Gee, your hair smells terrific.
Breck Prell, gee, your hair smells terrific. The bathroom in a 1970s house wasn't just shared, it was contested territory. And nothing started an argument faster than shampoo. Every bottle had an owner, whether it was officially labeled or not. You just knew which one was yours.
Hats off to new Breck for giving me clean body.
Hats off to Breck because clean body really lasts.
Hats off to new Breck shampoo with an improved, thicker formula. It gives hair clean body.
Breck was gentle and familiar. Prell was bright green and intense.
This is a pearl. It's one of the simplest, loveliest forms of nature. I like the idea of nature. You know, being natural in everything, especially my hair. So I use liquid Prell.
Gee, your hair smells terrific promised something magical just from the name alone. These weren't interchangeable products. They were personal choices, sometimes hard-won after begging, bargaining, or finally getting permission to switch brands. So when someone used the wrong shampoo, it felt like a violation, especially in the morning when everyone was already rushed. You'd notice immediately. The bottle was lighter, the cap was wet, the scent still hanging in the air.
There's something I want to tell you about shampoo. It might make no difference to you, but it does to me. Every leading shampoo is mostly detergent, except one. Gold Formula Breck. Breck has far less detergent or more natural ingredients.
That was mine. I only used a little. That was new. The argument didn't need to escalate to feel serious. It lived in the tone, the looks, the long silence that followed. Sometimes the bottle was moved, sometimes it was hidden, sometimes it came with a warning.
Natural is the absence of anything artificial. Natural is taking things off, not putting things on. When I shampoo, I use liquid Prell. Prell's rich formula cleans so thoroughly. Unlike some shampoos, it leaves no deposits in your hair. No dulling foam. Nothing artificial. All that's left is natural shine. Natural clean. It's just you.
These weren't just fights about soap. They were about fairness, boundaries, and the tiny pieces of control people carved out for themselves in a shared space. And in a house where privacy was limited, shampoo became something worth defending. Number 4. Aqua Net and Hairspray Clouds.
No hairspray at any price can stand up to that. But if you want a hairspray that will hold this, hold it beautifully in any weather, no hairspray holds better than Aqua Net.
Bathroom unusable, eyes burning. Hairspray in the 1970s didn't just hold hair, it filled rooms. Aqua Net clouds lingered long after the can was put down, turning the bathroom into a chemical fog. Someone always walked in too soon. Eyes burned, coughing started, tempers flared. Did you just spray? I needed it to hold. Well, now I can't breathe. Doors slammed, windows were thrown open, and everyone silently agreed the bathroom was off limits for at least 10 minutes. Number 5. Cigarettes in the house.
Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
Kids complaining, adults dismissing. In the 1970s, cigarette smoke wasn't treated as a problem. It was just part of the air. Ashtrays sat out in the open, often heavy and decorative, placed on coffee tables, end tables, even bathroom counters. Adults lit up without thinking twice. Windows stayed closed. Smoke curled toward the ceiling, clung to curtains, and settled into furniture. Kids noticed it, complained about it, and waved their hands in front of their faces. Can you not smoke in here?
Well, I guess it's just you and me, buddy.
Yeah, me and my Winstons, me and my Winstons, we got a real good thing, a real good taste.
Hi.
It's my house. That sentence ended the discussion every time. The house belonged to the adults, and so did the rules. Smoke wasn't dangerous, it was normal. Complaints were brushed off as exaggeration or disrespect.
I'd walk a mile for a Camel.
This little demonstration was strictly for smokers who never tasted a Camel cigarette. Camel smokers, you know what we mean. You other guys, start walking.
The arguments didn't usually get loud. They didn't have to. They existed in size, in the way kids leaned away on the couch, in the smell that followed them to school the next day. Looking back now, it's hard to believe how unquestioned it all was. But at the time, no one thought twice. If these kinds of nostalgic deep dives feel familiar to you, make sure you're subscribed. New videos like this are always on the way, and if you're on Facebook, come join our growing nostalgia community there. It's full of people who remember these moments exactly as they happened. Number 6. Tang versus real orange juice.
When Gemini 4 first launched men into space, Tang instant breakfast drink went with them. Since then, people everywhere have launched the day with Tang, because nothing fuels up your family like a nutritious breakfast in Tang. Tang has a fresh orange taste, a full day's supply of vitamin C in every glass, and it costs about 1/3 less than orange juice.
Breakfast in the 1970s often came with a side of debate, and Tang was right at the center of it. Bright orange, powdered, and proudly modern, it promised vitamins, convenience, and a future that didn't require squeezing anything.
Well, we're all out of orange-flavored Tang.
Golly, the grape flavor's gone too.
Listen, why don't I go to the earth and get some more?
Yeah?
I could trade them some rocks.
Rocks!
Some people loved it, others immediately rejected it. The argument usually started the moment it hit the glass. That's not juice. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Tang defenders pointed to the label, the commercials, the fact that astronauts drank it. Critics pointed to the taste, the color, and the fact that it came from a can instead of a fruit.
With the success of the recent Apollo space flights, man has been brought another step closer to the moon. Aboard these manned Apollo flights, 3 astronauts, and with them, Tang. Tang, the energy breakfast drink.
Kids were often caught in the middle, unsure whether they were supposed to enjoy it or question it. The debate rarely ended in agreement. It just paused until the next morning, when the powder came out again and the conversation started over. Number 7. The second breakfast fight.
Honey, it's almost 7:30. You look nice.
You're young, married, and you're both late for work. So you tear into Carnation Instant Breakfast. Mixed with milk, as much protein, vitamins, minerals, energy as this nourishing breakfast.
You already ate. Hunger in a 1970s house was treated with suspicion. If you asked for food too soon after breakfast, the first response was never concern. It was disbelief. You already ate. I'm still hungry. It's almost lunchtime.
Who can count all the raisins in Kellogg's Raisin Bran?
I can.
We take juicy ripe grapes from under the sun, turn them to raisins one by one. Those plump, juicy raisins.
You missed me. Me too.
Are frosted with sugar and mixed with bran flakes.
Adults trusted the clock more than the kids standing in front of them. Breakfast had happened, therefore hunger should be over. The idea that bodies worked differently never entered the discussion. Kids tried to negotiate. A piece of toast, a banana, something. Adults countered with rules, schedules, and warnings about spoiling lunch. The argument usually ended with no snack and a reminder to wait. And kids learned early that hunger wasn't always something you were allowed to respond to. It was something you were expected to manage quietly until the next approved time. Number 8. The new microwave. Someone refused to stand near it. When the microwave showed up, it was treated less like an appliance and more like an experiment. No one fully trusted it. They just accepted that it existed. Someone always stepped back when it turned on, not casually, dramatically, arms folded, eyes narrowed, waiting for something to happen. It's not safe to stand that close. It's fine. Well, I'm not standing there. One person refused to eat food that came out of it. Another person mocked them for being paranoid, while still backing up a few steps themselves. The hum felt suspicious. The door felt thin. No one could explain what radiation actually was, but everyone agreed it sounded bad. Eventually, fear won. People left the room entirely while it ran. The microwave was allowed to exist, but only from a safe distance, just in case. Number 9. The washing machine itself. Someone always blamed. Laundry day was risky. Someone forgot something in a pocket, a rock, a pen, lip gloss, and the machine paid the price. Clothes came out ruined. Socks disappeared. Pants were soaked. Who did this? I didn't. Well, someone did. The washing machine became the scene of the crime, and blame was assigned whether it was deserved or not. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these caused the biggest arguments in your house? Or was there another product that could instantly start a fight? Drop it in the comments. Your memories are half the fun, and I love featuring them in future videos. Number 10. Avocado and Harvest Gold. Everything. Design choices became personal. Avocado Green and Harvest Gold were marketed as modern, stylish, and sophisticated. Not everyone agreed. One person loved it, another hated it, and suddenly the color of the fridge felt like a personal insult. This is modern. It's ugly. These arguments lingered for years because replacing appliances wasn't an option. You just lived with the color and the resentment. Looking back, it's easy to laugh at these arguments. They seem small now, trivial even. But at the time, they mattered because they were part of daily life, shared spaces, shared routines, shared frustrations. These products didn't just exist in our homes, they shaped the mood of them, and the arguments they caused weren't really about objects. They were about boundaries, habits, and the simple fact that everyone was always just a little too close together. And somehow, that's part of why we remember it all so clearly.